Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Anneliese Kuemmerle, Program Associate and Registered Dietitian with the Department of Family and Community Health Sciences at Rutgers Cooperative Extension in Cape May County. Wishing everyone a beautiful spring day. And along that theme, today's monthly Lunch and Learn topic is about growing and using herbs. Before we jump in, I will share a little bit about Rutgers Cooperative Extension. We are a partnership between Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, the Board of County Commissioners of New Jersey, and the USDA's National Institute of Food and Agriculture. We are Rutgers' arm to local communities and have offices in all counties throughout the state. We offer cooperative extension services to support the community and deliver research-based information. We have 3 departments: Agriculture and Natural Resources, 4-H Youth Development, and my department is Family and Community Health Sciences. At FCHS, we provide outreach about nutrition, chronic disease prevention, food safety, and overall wellness. Rutgers Cooperative Extension is an affirmative action equal opportunity employer. Today we are talking about herbs. We'll talk about the living pantry and what that means. We'll cover some health benefits of using herbs in the kitchen. We'll talk about quick and easy ways you can enjoy them if you are growing them yourself or picking them up at your local farmer's market. And we will also talk about some ways to store and preserve herbs. So what is in your pantry right now? Or what comes to mind when you think of a pantry, right? The pantry is where we keep our kitchen staples. It's keeping rice or pasta or canned beans on hand so that you have them when you need them. When we think about stocking a healthy pantry, we are thinking about having a system in place where we can come home after a busy day and have what we need on hand to pull together a meal quickly and easily. And summer is coming up here in the Garden State, and I encourage everyone to think about growing herbs as part of that pantry system. Having herbs in a pot or on your porch can be a part of your pantry. Pictured on the screen is a pot of rosemary and thyme that was on my porch, and it's just a few footsteps away from the kitchen. It's part of my pantry. I don't have to add rosemary or thyme to my shopping list because they are already at home. This living pantry is renewable, it keeps growing, and it keeps replenishing itself for very minimal effort. Growing your own herbs as a renewable living pantry is also great for the environment. You can harvest what you need when you need it. No plastic packaging required. There is minimal waste because you don't use half of one of those plastic sleeve packs you find at the store and then lose the rest to the back corners of the refrigerator. And reducing food waste benefits our wallet, and it also benefits the environment. If you are buying 2 of those little $3 plastic sleeves of herbs at the grocery store each week, it adds up to over $300 a year. So growing your own living pantry is a cost-effective way to enjoy herbs. The thyme plant pictured on the screen on the right is a pretty decent size. There's a mason jar there circled for scale. It's a pint-sized mason jar. And this plant was started from seed the year before the picture was taken. And I've harvested off of it many times, even in the winter. And 1 seed pack can give you many plants. So it is well worth the investment of a seed packet or growing your own from seed or even picking up a plant start at a local nursery or garden center. I also encourage the sharing and swapping of seeds and seedlings if you are growing from seed. For the price of 1 plastic sleeve of thyme from the grocery store, you can buy a seed pack and supply your entire neighborhood. And then we have thyme, much like rosemary, sage, oregano, tarragon, savory, and chives are perennial in New Jersey, which means that they'll keep coming back year after year. Other herbs like basil and dill are annual, which means that they die in the winter time. So a seed packet or a plant start for one of those herbs is just a 1-year investment, but it still becomes more cost effective compared to buying those individual plastic containers at the store. Herbs are great plants for new or for busy gardeners since they generally take up much less space than some of our vegetable varieties. And they can also be grown easily in containers or flower pots. They don't take up a lot of space. In the left picture, you will see that I've just tucked some basil plants in between some begonias. You can also preserve your summer harvest and enjoy herbs throughout the winter months, which I'll cover later on in the presentation. And when we're growing a living pantry, we are making use of herbs as part of our cooking routine in a much more convenient way. it's kind of like having a fruit bowl on your counter to remind you to eat fruit. If you have it on hand, you're more likely to use it and eat it and enjoy it. Another great reason to grow your own herbs is that there are so many options. Here are 3 different types of basil pictured on the screen, and each of these is different from the classic Genovese variety that we'll see in like a tomato mozzarella caprese salad. The first picture on the left is Tulsi. That's called holy basil. It has a fruity, minty aroma, and it makes a really great iced tea or sun tea. And then in the middle, we have Thai basil, and that has a more anise or licorice note to it, and it's really great cooked in curries. And then last, all the way on the right, we have purple basil, and there are many different kinds of purple basil that you can choose from to grow. It really looks great in containers, and it adds a lot of visual appeal to both your plate and also to your garden. So we can be growing herbs not only to eat and enjoy them, but also as part of our decorative arrangements and in our flower pots and our gardens. And when we are harvesting basil, it's helpful we want to be cutting it from the top down to encourage more bushy growth from the outside of the plant. We see in the first photo over on the left, over here, we see some flower heads starting to form. And we want to pinch those off so that the plant continues to put its energy into making leaves, because that's what we're harvesting. We want to be harvesting those delicious leaves. Once the basil plant makes flowers and goes to seed, the leaves become tough and less flavorful, because at that point, the plant is using its energy to make seeds and reproduce itself. So we want to be cutting off the flower heads at the top right here where my mouse is. And then in the second photo, we see that the basil has been trimmed back. And we pinch back the stems right above a set of leaves right here. And here's a close-up on the top right of your screen, circled in red. And when we harvest our basil and pinch that top growth off, we encourage a bushy, flavorful plant. In the bottom right, we see what happens to basil if we don't prune it. And this is a purple and green variety, so that's why the leaves are speckled and the flower heads are purple. But I've let some of my basil plants go to flower and go to seed on purpose because the bees and other pollinators like the flowers. So one for me, one for the bees. You can think about that as well. If you are feeling like you are going to grow your own herbs this summer, it's always great to plant extra for our pollinator friends, for dill and parsley. The swallowtail caterpillars really love that. So always plant extra for the swallowtail butterfly caterpillars. And then in this case, if you are planning on letting your basil flower and feed the bees, then having another set of plants right behind it that you can pop in somewhere else in your landscape or in a different container that will help give you a continued harvest while allowing you to share. You can also let the basil produce seeds and save them. So there are health benefits to adding herbs to your kitchen routine. Fresh herbs are a great way to add flavor to dishes without adding extra salt, extra sugar, or extra fat. And by gradually cutting down and replacing salt, sugar, and fat with herbs, you can help train your taste buds to prefer food that is flavored with herbs and spices over food that has added sugar and salt. Herbs also have many different kinds of polyphenols. Polyphenols are molecules that are in plants that have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects and may be beneficial for our health. Antioxidants can prevent or slow damage to our cells that is caused by unstable molecules called free radicals. And polyphenols have also been shown to increase the diversity of the human gut microbiome and supporting our gut health. Eating different herbs, fruits, and veggies helps you capture a variety of polyphenols in your diet. So herbs are just one way to go about increasing your intake of antioxidant and anti-inflammatory polyphenols. Herbs also do contain some vitamins and minerals. Just 1 tablespoon of fresh chopped basil is actually a good source of vitamin K, which is important for blood clotting and helping build strong bones. However, keep in mind that when we are using herbs in the kitchen, we're really using small amounts. We're using a spoonful here, a spoonful there, a handful here. They're not making up a bulk of the food on our plate in the same way that our fruits and veggies are. So since we are just tending to use a small amount of them to add flavor, they can complement our vitamin and our mineral intake, but I would not recommend them as a primary dietary source for vitamins and minerals in your diet. Again, we're going to be getting the bulk of our nutrients in our diet from having a variety of fruits, vegetables, herbs, whole grains, lean proteins, and legumes as well. So herbs are a helpful addition, but not necessarily a replacement for those other good things. Here are some tips for cooking with herbs in the kitchen. For our delicately leaved herbs, things like basil, chives, cilantro, dill, parsley, mint, adding them just a minute or two before your food is done cooking is going to maximize the flavor that you get from the herbs. The molecules that give delicate herbs their flavor and smell break down when they are cooked for a long time. So if we wait until the end of cooking and just throw them in quickly again at the end, that's going to help optimize their flavor. Less delicate herbs like rosemary and oregano, they can take a longer, more robust cooking process because they release their flavor compounds more slowly. So those are the types of herbs that we would steep into a long cooking stew or a soup. Herbs are really great in a quick and easy homemade salad dressing, and it is spring in the Garden State again, so all of our wonderful greens are going to be coming into season, fresh lettuces and spinach and chard and kale and all of those great things. So if you're making a salad, having a homemade salad dressing is a wonderful accompaniment for those. Store-bought salad dressings can be very high in salt and have added sugars in the ingredients list. So if you are buying salad dressing, just a friendly reminder, flip it over, look at the nutrition facts label, look at the ingredients list. But it's very quick and easy to whip up your own salad dressing at home. You can use any kind of acid, any type of vinegar or lemon juice or lime juice, any kind of oil that you already have and cook with, like olive oil, canola oil, vegetable oil. You could use avocado oil, and then you can season it according to what you like or what your salad is going with. Maybe match up a flavor profile. And for seasoning, you could use any fresh or dried herbs. You could use Dijon mustard, Parmesan cheese, minced garlic, minced onion, shallot, peppers, any kind of dried spices. And the ratio for how much of each ingredient I've put up on the screen for you. It's about 3 tablespoons of acid to a half a cup of oil. And then I don't measure the seasoning when I make this. I like to just throw in what I have and what I like, and you can adjust it as you go, take a little taste test, see if it needs more of something. And it's very easy to make this in just a mason jar, put your ingredients in. There are lines on the side that can help you measure. And then you can just shake it right up in that, get a nice emulsified dressing. And then you can store this in an airtight container. You can store your salad dressing in an airtight container in the refrigerator for up to 7 days. So you can have a whole week's worth of salad dressing. Other ways to enjoy herbs are using pesto as a heart-healthy swap for mayo. You can use that as a spread for sandwiches, for wraps. If you follow the QR code on the screen, it will take you to our FCHS basil pesto recipe. You can also add herbs to marinades. You could infuse herbs in vinegar. We'll send out a how-to article about that after the presentation. You can also chop up fresh herbs and stir them into low-fat or fat-free Greek yogurt for a light and delicious dip or spread, which again, you could use that as a veggie dip in place of hummus, a savory Greek yogurt dip. It's really great with, I made one not too long ago with cilantro and lime and cumin. You could do basil, chives, a little lemon juice. You could really put in whatever you like and have that as a high protein, low fat dip to go along with veggies as a snack, or again, as a spread for sandwiches. You could also add garlic to the dip, most definitely. And don't skip herbs at breakfast. Chives, parsley, and basil can get thrown right into scrambled eggs. You can make a frittata by adding some of those seasonal spring greens, wilt them down, make a scrambled egg bake, and adding herbs is really going to, again, add more flavor, add more dimension, and elevate that dish. And if it's lunchtime, you could add them even to egg salad. So unlimited opportunities. There are as many ways to enjoy herbs as there are types of herbs. So with summer coming up, here are some light and refreshing options. Tabbouleh salad is a Levantine herb salad made with bulgur wheat, lemon juice, olive oil, and veggies pictured up top. It's a great way to make a grain bowl if you are growing your own herbs as well as growing your own veggies, it's a great way to use produce from the garden in a quick, easy grain bowl lunch. You can add feta cheese to it. It's very good that way as well. And there are many versions of tabbouleh that vary according to the region that it's from. Parsley is the main herb that's used. Many of them also include mint. When I make mine, I add basil to it because I grow basil. It's very flexible. Bulgur wheat is a whole grain and it's very easy to batch prep ahead of time. So make a batch for the week, and then as you are grabbing and going from the kitchen, adding whatever chopped veggies you have to it. If you made your own vinaigrette, you could even add your salad dressing to it. And when it comes to dill, I kept it classic with just a dill and cucumber salad. Dill and cucumber go hand in hand. But for this version, we swapped out the sour cream for plain Greek yogurt and added a little onion to it. So that keeps it light and refreshing. And then chimichurri is pictured on the bottom left of the screen. That's a raw herb sauce from South America, and it's traditionally served with grilled meats. I had to bring it up because with summer also comes grilling season. So there's another opportunity besides just a marinade to grill with herbs. And you'll find many versions of chimichurri, just like with the tabbouleh, but the staples that are used are generally parsley, garlic, olive oil, red wine vinegar, oregano, and crushed red pepper. We can also enjoy herbs in our drinks. Flavoring plain water or seltzer with herbs is a great way to have an entertaining beverage without drinking added sugar. Many herbal teas are just as delicious iced as they are hot, again, as we transition into spring and hopefully start enjoying some more consistently warm weather. And I've put up on the screen some ideas for flavor pairings of different herbs and fruit. And if, again, you can make a whole pitcher or dispenser of infused herb and fruit blends ahead of time just to have on hand, or you could also whip this up for a gathering or a party and a way to offer healthy drinks that also look good and taste good. If anyone has a combination that they enjoy, drop it in the chat, share it with each other. Mint and lime are really good. The rosemary and orange is really good too. Basil and cucumber, that's again more of a classic. When we are storing herbs, I will start by saying that my favorite way to store herbs is by growing them outside and enjoying them straight off the plant all summer long. When you're cooking, you can just pop outside with a pair of kitchen scissors and harvest exactly what you need. There's no waste. You can also store them in the refrigerator if you wanted to harvest a bunch at once. You can store herbs in the refrigerator for 2 to 3 days if you're wrapping them in a damp paper towel and storing them in a perforated plastic bag. Another method is to put cut herbs in a jar with about 1 inch of water on the bottom and popping that into the refrigerator for up to a week. You can cover it with a plastic bag. Cilantro keeps really well that way in the fridge. And according to the University of Maine Cooperative Extension, basil doesn't do well in the refrigerator. If anyone's ever kept basil in the fridge, then you know that it gets kind of black spots on the leaves. So the folks at the University of Maine recommend keeping your basil at room temperature in a jar of water. You do want to make sure that you are changing the water daily. Herbs can also be frozen in bags without blanching, so no buts, no musts. You wash them, dry them, put them in a freezer bag and keep them in the freezer. And then you just grab a handful as you need. Another great way to preserve herbs, especially if you're growing your own in the summer and you have an abundance of basil, is to turn it into pesto and freeze pesto. You can make pesto with sunflower seeds or walnuts as a more budget-friendly alternative to pine nuts. And if you use sunflower seeds, that's also more allergen-friendly if you or someone in your family has a tree nut allergy. You can freeze pesto or chopped herbs in oil and ice cube trays. Once they're frozen, again, pop them out into a freezer bag, and then you just grab and go what you need when you need it. You can also preserve herbs by drying. Drying is one of the oldest methods for preserving food, and it works by removing moisture from our food, and that prevents pathogens from growing. Drying also slows down the enzyme activity that's naturally occurring in plants that breaks them down. And there are many ways to dry food. We can dry herbs in a cool oven with the light on, or just the pilot light if you have a gas oven, to provide a little bit of warmth to help the plants dry out. There are outdoor drying methods as well, but sun drying is not recommended for herbs because according to the University of Georgia's National Center for Home Food Preservation, sun drying can make herbs lose flavor and color. If you're interested in using a food dehydrator to dry your own herbs, the QR code on the screen will take you to the National Center for Home Food Preservation's page on food dehydrators. That is where most of the information on the screen came from. and we'll send that link out as well after today's presentation. Food dehydrators are available from big box stores, online retailers, garden supply catalogs. You can find them readily. There are two types of food dehydrators. The first has horizontal airflow. That's the one pictured on the left. And then the second type of dehydrator has vertical airflow. And that means that in the horizontal model, the heating element and fan is on the side of the unit. So it's blowing the air across the food. Whereas in the vertical dehydrator, the heating element and fan is on the bottom. So it's blowing that air up. If you're in the market for a food dehydrator, it's helpful to consider the pros and cons of each type of design. The vertical model will definitely meet your needs if you're only using it for herbs. They're smaller, they're less expensive, they take up a little less kitchen real estate than the bigger horizontal models. One of the cons of the vertical airflow dryer is that the flavors can mix together. So if you are using this to dry herbs and you want to keep the flavors separate, you want to do one type of herb at a time. The horizontal dehydrators are a little more costly, but again, if you're interested in drying other things as well, like drying fruit or vegetables from your garden, the horizontal airflow allows for less flavor mixing. And also, if you're putting juicy things in the dehydrator, if they drip liquid, the liquid can't drip onto the heating element in a horizontal dehydrator the way that it can drip down onto the heating element in a vertical airflow dehydrator. And just like how we are pinching our herbs frequently, or especially our basil, to cut the flower head off to maximize the flavor in the leaves, if we are harvesting herbs with the intent to dry them and preserve them, we want to be harvesting them before they flower. And that will give you the best quality and the most flavorful herbs. We need to rinse the herbs under running water. We want to wash them off, shake extra moisture off. You can throw them in a salad spinner. If you have one of those, that's really convenient. Especially if you're making large batches of things, like making a big batch of pesto, just putting all your basil in the salad spinner can save you a lot of time. And if we're loading up our dehydrator with our herbs, the temperature per the University of Maryland Extension Office is recommended to be between 95 and 115 degrees. If it's really humid, like it can get here, the Jersey Shore, 125 degrees is the max temperature. And it will take between 1 and 4 hours to have your herbs be fully dehydrated if you're using this method. We want them to crumble and the stems to break when we bend them. So they want to be crispy and crumbly. And the University of Georgia's National Center for Home Food Preservation recommends dehydrator drying as the fastest and easiest way to dry herbs. But it is possible to room dry them without a dehydrator if you don't have a dehydrator or don't want to spend the kitchen real estate space on one. You can tie herbs in small bundles and hang them up to dry in a warm, well-ventilated room. This is easiest to do with less tender herbs. I've listed them up on the screen for you because they have a lower moisture content to begin with. Herbs like basil, oregano, tarragon, lemon balm, and our mints generally have a higher moisture content and they can get moldy before they are dry all of the way. So if you're using this method, keep your bundles small so that it's less compacted together. And another method is to dry the leaves separately. You can take them off the stem and lay them out on paper towels. And then you can stack the paper towels up to 5 layers deep. And then once your herbs are dry all the way, you can pack them up in an airtight container and store them in a cool, dry, and dark area. So to wrap up, I hope that everyone feels inspired to grow your own living pantry. It's definitely the perfect time of year to start, to think about it. It's not too late to get some herbs in the ground or to get some seedlings started if you want to start seeds. It's definitely in the planning mode for our gardening this time of year. So we have plenty of time to pick up plant starts, get our pots ready, decide where you want to put them. And for anyone who is interested in growing herbs or gardening in general, Cooperative Extension's Master Gardener Hotline is a resource for you that's free and available in the community. I've put the phone number for the Cape May County hotline up on the screen for anyone in Cape May County. We hope that you enjoy herbs as part of a healthy diet and use herbs as a replacement for some of the sugar, salt, and fat that we may find sneaking into our food to try to give it flavor. You can flavor with limitless array of herbs. Here are some references and resources. And thank you to everyone for spending your lunch with us. I've also shared on the screen on the right information about the Empower to Prevent Type 2 Diabetes program, which is a year-long program nationally recognized by the CDC. It is free and offered over Zoom as evening classes, and I will be teaching it with the Somerset County S team this May. We're starting a new group, so I encourage anyone who's interested to scan the QR code, see if you're eligible. Our next Lunch and Learn, we are talking about the health benefits of gardening again. And that is on Tuesday, May 5th at 12:30. So I'm happy to take any questions and wish everyone a wonderful rest of the day. Thanks for joining us.